Welcome back to the ABL review for Season 20, Week 1 of the North Division. I'm Jeremy Lysak, and I'm here still working on editing levels here for the sound. And also, I forgot to look up that thing about that I said I was going to look up in the South doc, but not a big problem. Or South pod, rather. Got a bunch of games to get into this week, so I'm not going to talk too much. I just want to say thank you for everybody for getting your games done this week and looking forward to a good season. So, as many people know, that I'm bad at editing, but the other thing people know is that I usually like to start with my games first and get them out of the way, because otherwise I can get hung up on my games for a while. So let's get into this. So, I'm going to start off with Alolan Ninetales. Going to try to get those screens up, but nah. Azelf throws up the finger there, stops me from getting it. I kind of expected he might do that, but also it's like he might not have it. Maybe he just wants to get up rocks, in which case I'll take the screens. Go hard in here. Super happy to see 3 of his moves right out the gate. Our taunt, knockoff, and U-turn. Wasn't expecting this Overquill to be like the Azelf shutdown, but I'm loving the amount of damage I got off on this Azelf, because he also takes that there. I haven't touched this thing. And I've got 20% off on him in exchange for, 30% on this Overquill, and I know I can always go into it. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Scizor is going to come in afterwards on this liquidation. I was predicting the Crocodile to potentially come out there. Didn't happen. I was super surprised to see Crocodile and Scizor at this match because I've got this Skarmory. That was pretty surprising to me. But I'm going to go ahead and stay in and try to set up a spike as he goes for the knockoff, gets rid of my leftovers. Not a huge deal for me. And I'm going to Iron Defense up and just see if I get to keep this spike up. I don't get to. He's going to defog it away, but I'll take this good damage on Scizor. I know he had the Siege Spray, got a lot of that back, but that's good damage, all things considered. I was super happy to see this Kilowattrel didn't have a Terra type that would be able to hit my Raging Bolt too much. I'm happy to throw off a Dragon Pulse here, just try to get some chip. Considered going for Thunderclap there just to out-prioritize the Scissors Bullet Punch, not take that damage, but it's not worth over-predicting there. I'm going to go hard into Alolan Ninetales because I know it's going to take 2 Earthquakes. Not super psyched to lose my Light Clay there, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and get the Aurora Veil up. This is going to give me a couple of turns to fuck around and see what's up with this Gouging Fire. Not surprised to see it be Dragon Dance. I'd expect to see that most weeks. But the plan is keep this Gouging Fire as slow as I can possibly make it. Just try to get it back down to ideally -1 speed. So that way my Raging Bolt can come in and KO it. But this is doing... I'd seen Morning Sun come out is also good because I know Earthquake's the best thing it has to hit this pig. He gets the play right on that turn, going into Kilowattrel on that turn. He's not fucking around. He's going for the Terraflying Hurricane, wants this pig dead. But my specially defensive leftovers Raging Bolt is going to be able to come in, soak up that hit decently well. Smart move going into the Primarina there. I think Assault Vest is what I calced later on in the match. I'm just going to try real quick again to get up more screens, and I managed to... Flip turns out into Crocodile. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to try to I don't have a safe switch. Let's see what he wants to go for. I'm either going to outspeed him if he's not Scarfed, or he's going to be locked into a move if he is Scarfed. And honestly, he's got to go for either Gunk Shot or Stone Edge, which is good for Skarmory. And he does, in fact, go for the Stone Edge, but I managed to dodge. This opens me up a lot in this game, having Crocodile gone. I'm in a real good position here. I don't really, in retrospect, I don't like my move here, but I was really kind of done with this Alolan Ninetales at this point. So I'm like, I'll just get a chunk of damage off, see what happens. He goes for Dragon Dance. Now at this point, I think he's kind of low. He's either going to go ahead, I don't want him to continue to set up. So I go for the Encore here, so that way if he does set up, he's locked into it. So now I can get some safe switches. He's got to use another Morning Sun, which is not great use of him. I should have hard switched here, but I didn't. I should have gone hard into the Oinkologne before, but that didn't happen. So now I got to double back the Alolan Ninetales, just try to let this thing go down. See the U-turn come out here. Now at this point is when I started to think this thing specs. I don't think I calced that Hurricane. to figure out that it was Specs. And now we also see the Shadow Ball come out. So I know that this isn't going to KO me. I can get off a... Oh, he crits me and it doesn't KO me. Check that out. Get off the crunch. Get rid of this Azelf. Another big offensive threat on his team down. He really only... I mean, he really only has 3 more left now. I'm going to sack my Alolan Ninetales to be able to come into the Raging Bolt. A couple of mind games here about what he's going to go for. I was like, yeah, he'll switch out, but he didn't. He stayed in. But I go for the Calm Mind here because if he stays in, the Thunderbolt is now going to do less than leftovers, and I kind of win that exchange. If he goes into Primarina, this thing didn't show that it was Specs, so I definitely can live 1 Moonblast and put it in KO range. So I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt here. Does great damage. Goes for the Moonblast. Doesn't 2-hit KO me. So I'm going to go for another Thunderbolt here. He can obviously go into Gouging Fire, which he does. But at this point, the pig kind of cleans up. You can't really get broken through too much. I'm just going to... I throw off 1 Body Slam just to try to para him, and I get really lucky, and I do. And now the goal, like I said before, is just going to be Bulldoze, keep him low. I get a lucky crit there. Doesn't make too much of a difference in the long run, just because the goal is make him slow, which now that he's paralyzed, it's just that's doing more damage. Here when he gets really low, I think I throw off a Body Slam just in case he wants to switch into the flying type, which I was right, and I catch him. Dodge a Hurricane there. Didn't matter at this point. Raging Bolt would have cleaned up, gotten the last 2 KOs. But Fallout Pig ends up... I thought I named Fallout Pork. What do you think is a better nickname? Able to get the last 2 KOs there. Really happy with this showing of the team. This is a weird team that I haven't really had to... I haven't used this style of team before. So... nice to come out there. Drew is a really... This is Drew, right? I get the new guys mixed up a little bit. Who's the other person? Calling the Meek. What's your name? Oh boy. Hold on. Guys, Zane. Zane is calling the Meek. That's who it is. Okay. Drew, I think I played... Did Drew play in the... Who played in the Iron Cheek? Oh, I've lost track. Work's been crazy. But this is a good battle. I just think I had the... I think I just had a better matchup here in terms of what I brought and the Terra Captains and everything, so I think it worked out pretty well. Yeah, get a big win there. Happy to start the season off that way. We're going to move on to the next one. We've got Curtis. Let's reset here. Because I was watching this a little bit again before, because there's some stuff that happens here that I gotta talk about. So the Scale Shot miss sucks, because that could have even prevented these webs from going up at all, but I don't think they make a huge difference in the match before they get removed. Spoilers. I think this might be Scarf Garchomp by the way it gets played here. So that also makes Scale Shot kind of but I don't think it is. I don't know. It's hard to say. This Deoxys is going to come in and just kind of be something, it's going to get up rocks and just kind of be real fat. Like you see that U-turn did not even do that much damage to it. He's going to get this nice slow teleport out into the Corviknight. Interesting call. He's going to eat a Nuzzle there. Now he's paralyzed. No way of getting rid of that. They got rid of all of the clerics. Scarlet and Violet, unfortunately. The Smeargle's going to get rid of the rocks, which just encourages Jabron here to go for the Defog. Obviously must have known he... Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is a good call by Jabron. Obviously must have known that he was going to live a Thunderbolt or Volt Switch or whatever he went for there. I'd be surprised if he just hard predicted him to not go for Thunderbolt. But must have expected the calc. I mean, with how little that Surf did... Thunderbolt's gonna do triple that, right? Roughly? I think that's probably about right. It's gonna do 66 as long as he doesn't get parried, but he wants to get rid of these webs. So yeah, the webs, so that means that Scale Shot at the beginning didn't make a significant difference other than the fact that, like, actually, this Corviknight wouldn't have been parried. That's that. Okay, back to the battle. But gets Encored into Defog here. It's smart move by Curtis. I like that move. Not going to bother Volt Switching even if he has it. Going to go hard into the Urshifu. I think he just, but what's he do here? What's he do? See an item on this? Yeah, we saw leftovers. Good U-turn there. Lots of switches happening. And then this Porygon traces pressure. That's really important for what's going to happen in the future here. He's going to go for the discharge, get a good amount of damage off, assuming Arcanine's going to come in. Based on that damage, I don't know if he's banded. I can't tell. But you just saw him go for 2 head smashes and foul play damage. Again, that I don't even know if that's that doesn't tell me. But he's used 2 head smashes here. But this Porygon 2 has pressure. He's actually used 4 PP already. And I don't know that he realized that. Because he stays in. I think he goes for another head smash. Does a good amount of damage. Curtis just recovers it right off. This has to be where he notices it. Because he only has... If he stays in head smashes, he's out of head smashes. And now he's got to lock himself into a Flare Blitz. Which doesn't do as well against this team. So, smart move to switch out. Probably should have switched out a little bit sooner in retrospect. Corviknight's going to come in and he's going to start to try to do a little bit of damage to this P2 here. And just find an opportunity to get in something that could take it out. Porygon 2 ends up putting in a ton of work. Just throwing off discharges. This Corviknight is getting parried. That Body Slam doesn't even do that much damage, but just hoping to burn him out of a couple more recovers. Gets full parried there. That Roost could have made kind of a difference. Ice Beam just to make sure that the Garchomp doesn't come in. Ogerpon Wellspring comes out. Knockoff. Smart move. Needed to do it. Just eats a foul play there. Hornleech doesn't get him back quite as much as he would have wanted. I'm surprised he didn't go for Ivy Cudgel here. Play Rough probably would have KO'd. Let me think about that. Play Rough's 90. Hornleech is 75, but Hornleech is also stab, so that basically gets an extra 37. Yeah, and Hornleech was doing 33. He's at 26. Might have KO'd. Yeah, it might have KO'd. He would have gotten a little bit of, but I think Hornleech definitely would have KO'd. So all that was doing was covering the potential Incineroar switch. Which, if he goes hard into Incineroar, sure, you're at -1. I still think you fire off an Ivy Cudgel at that point. Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a misplay, and he got punished for it. So we see the floor just come out, able to pick up the KO there. This is a very physically defensive P2, and it didn't have its Eviolite, so I don't think that crit mattered. See the Protect come out, and he gets his items knocked off, and the Moonblast comes out. So, a couple things should have happened here. Going for the knockoff twice in a row against a Fairy may make you think, oh, he's locked into that. Maybe that's why Jabron felt comfortable staying in, because he's like, okay, he went for knockoff. I bet you this thing's choice. Probably encouraged that it is in fact choiced by that knockoff damage. But this Moonblast damage, if he didn't calc it, if people who aren't calcing this sort of damage, you should be doing that and figuring out what this thing's investment is, because we looked at it after the battle. This thing's Assault Vest, with quite a bit of HP investment as well. That's something people should be looking out for. Knowledge is power in Pokemon. I might be way too far away from the mic, so if this is too quiet, I'm sorry. I'm going to move a little closer. Hopefully nobody cancels me. But then he switches up moves and he gets gunk shotted. Pretty unfortunate for him, but pretty unfortunate for Jabron that he eats that gunk shot. So at this point, this Cinderace does nothing in this battle. This Cinderace is worthless at this point. These are sack turns. I don't think that the fake out was necessary for anything. I think he probably could have gone. I don't think it did anything in that circumstance. But I thought this was kind of a silly thing for him to Terra into a Steel type because, so he's definitely, because obviously you're just gonna go for Earthquake against the ground type. But he interestingly went for the Scale Shot, which he ends up living the Scale Shot, so he's not choiced like I thought he might be. So he ends up not being choiced, but obviously him being Steel type allowed him to live that hit. He might have gone down to that hit if he wasn't, which I guess doesn't matter. I guess just force him to go for his scale shot again. I mean, he could have gone for Earthquake, and he would have avoided the drops. And also, it doesn't really matter because these Surging Strikes were definitely going to KO. So here, let's look at the end of the battle here. Because I think this is some mistakes happen right here. Jabron is in this situation. Jabron obviously came in. He couldn't go into Deoxys. I agree that he shouldn't have gone Deoxys here. But at this point, he goes for the extreme speed. Smart move. Okay? Just get rid of this Urshifu Rapid Strike. It's off the board. Let's go from this position. Hoop on bounce in. If he'd done the calcs, which I don't know if he did, I don't know if his calcs were saying maybe they're different. The calcs we came up with after the battle when we watched this live were that extreme speed on Hoop Unbound from this range has a 38% chance to KO. Some people might want to take that. But I think the much safer play, because if you don't get that 38%, then you go into Deoxys defense. You're hoping you live whatever dark move this has, knock off. And you can... It's low enough health that a Nightshade will KO. That's what he ended up having. I think the more prudent thing to do would have been go hard Deoxys defense, go ahead and die. I think Flare Blitz from Arcanine definitely KOs Hoopa Unbound at any range, from what I remember from the calc. So I think this is a big mistake by Jabron. This is a big choke, because he is in a winning position here. But he goes for the extreme speed, doesn't get the roll, Drain Punch. This even might be slightly out of range of Nightshade from Deoxys, depending on how much investment, but it doesn't matter because he ends up getting the KO with a knockoff. Curtis comes away with a big win here. Jabron made a big mistake at the end of that game. If you can show me how it's not a mistake, I would love to print a retraction. I'll buy a Gutenberg printing press. I shouldn't say that. I might just be wrong, and I can't afford a Gutenberg printing press. But I'll talk about it on the next podcast. But I think a mistake was made there. Let's move on to our next match. Oh, look, it's Sun versus not Sun. This one I was watching. This is our first battle of the season. Came on Saturday. I was watching it in my car as I drove around places. So let's see how much of it I remember. I didn't rewatch it. Rough lead there for Zane. Flip turn out into Slitherwing. Good call here. Like he's getting all the matchups right, and we're getting more U-turns, which is putting more pressure on Zane. Mike's doing a good job here. Gets his Bisharp in, going for the Iron Head. He's not playing around. He's just attacking what's in front of him. I think that's a smart move. Rillaboom's gonna come in, take that Iron Head. Good amount of damage to start off. But obviously this is forced out into the Charizard, but Zane's not scared either. He's just going to keep U-turning. Now the Blood Moon's out. Blood Moon's scary. Blood Moon's very scary. We see this Blood Moon come out and clean OHKO this Charizard. Shocking to me to see that, honestly. He's obviously scared. Going to go out, and Mike not playing around, going for the close combat, and is getting eaten up by the Scream Tail. It's getting leftovers and grassy terrain. That's just good things all around for it. Thunder Wave comes out. This is big. I thought that was a great play. Nothing immune to electric on this team. Thunderwave's going to come out, going to cripple one of these offensive threats if he decides to go into it. Thunderwave and Torkoal's not bad either, okay? Just hopefully get you some free turns. Going to go ahead and protect. Para ends up being a wash, but hey, this thing's back at full HP. Shifter's going to come out on the Torkoal. I wonder if this is Chlorophyll. I don't think we'd see for certain. Missing that Leech Seed doesn't matter at all. So, because it wouldn't have drained anything from there. And then he switches out right afterwards. This next part is a big thing. Because now, let's look at this team. He goes into his 4x water resist here. I guess that's, 4x fire resist. I think that's a smart move. But I think some other care needed to be made on this team, and we'll see why. Because this thing terrestrializes fire and goes overheat. Big miss. We'll see just how big later. Hydro Steam comes out, does a ton of damage. Like this is a powerful Pokemon. Wish goes up. If he had, I'm confused why he didn't Hydro Steam again there. Maybe he's predicting the Rillaboom to come in. That must have been it. But this Screamtail is going to be able to get back up to full health. Screamtail's like is such an annoying Pokemon. Having used it, it's so bulky, and just Wish Protect being so good on it, and also like probably the best form of recovery nowadays. Here we go. We got the Sun up. The Magmortar has come in. He's going to try to do the same thing he did before and fire off an Overheat. Go into the 4X Fire Resist Mon. 59% on a 4X resist. I mean, I know this is Specs. I know this is Fire. I know it's Terrasilize. Or in the Sun, I know it's Terrasilize. It's still absolutely crazy. And you see the Life Orb recoil, whittling it down. Don't like it, guys, but it's going to stay out of Life Orb death range because of the grassy terrain. So if I don't think I get to play the Jingle. I can't remember. Let's see what this is. Oh, okay. Bisharp's going to come out. Yeah, you see, so he's up above 2 Life Orb hits now, which is going to come out. We know that this Bisharp is not going to be able to KO this Rillaboom because the damage you saw earlier, that Rillaboom gets back up quite healthy. Torkoal comes out. What is the Torkoal? Is this just U-turn again? Oh, Hammer Arm. Good chunk of damage. Gets the speed drop. Still probably faster than Torkoal at the end of the day. But he's going to take this opportunity to get Magmortar out ahead of the rocks. Really important there because there's no clearing on Zane's side of the field. And he just goes for the Overheat. This is even the best use of Walking Wake because anything else would have taken 100%. This still might take... Yeah, see, look at this. 80%, that thing's at -2. And this thing had a Spadef boost. So I don't know how Spadef this thing needs to be to get a Spadef boost in the Sun, but it's significant. I'm sure of it. Torkoal comes out again and the Sun ends. Perfect timing to do it because honestly the Sun is now a detriment to Mike. He doesn't want the Sun to be up. And that's perfect because now this... Like, the Magmortar can't afford to come back in. I think maybe after one more... No, he would need another round of grassy terrain to come in. He's going to get the KO here. Okay, let's pause. Mike's in a rough spot, but he's not without options. Okay? Blood Moon's weakened, right? Screamtail is thankfully pretty passive, and... Bisharp is going to be able to take it out if it can break through paralysis, okay? And also, Screamtail has to be careful going for play roughs on it if it has it. I think we end up seeing an attacking move from it sooner or later. Because if it gets the attack drop on play rough Defiant... Oh, no, it's pressure. I didn't even notice that. Why is it pressure? I guess for the Blood Moon? Is this like Spadef for the Blood Moon? But it never comes out against Blood Moon. That's really interesting. I don't know. Maybe it also could just be a mistake. That'll happen sometimes. Another Thunder Wave comes out. At this point, he's just got something that can soak up those Thunder Waves, which is kind of nice because the rest of the team is in danger. I wonder what the rest of this moveset was because we don't see the rest of it. Maybe it's got Low Kick for the Blood Moon. That might make sense. Doing a good chunk of damage there. I think at this point you could stay... Oh yeah, it goes Flying type to avoid the Hammer Arm that he showed off before. There you go. And Terra Blast Flying. Oh, that's the rest. I forgot about all that. So he's definitely got Sucker Punch there. His last move too. He's gonna sack the Slitherwing to the Blood Moon. Now Blood Moon can't go for Blood Moon again. But this is such a smart play. I love this. Getting the crit, I don't know if it mattered. Somebody else can let me know with the calcs. But he's going to take advantage of Sharpness and Zane's own grassy terrain, get the Leaf Blade off, do a ton of damage. Obviously, the Sneasler is going to be able to come in, would have been able to take it, especially with that defense boost. That's really big because also it's got the Acrobatics boost now. But... This Bisharp is healthy enough to not really have to take too much damage, and he's going to be able to fire off another Terra Blast, which should be able to KO this Rillaboom. Oh, unfortunate. Would have been able to KO the Rillaboom. Eviolite comes off. Now it KOs the Rillaboom. Pretty unfortunate, but now this Ursaluna also gets picked off from the Sucker Punch, and now we're down to Sneasler, who no longer has the defense boost, no longer has its Acrobatics boost. So... Since he had to switch out, if this is a Scarfed Gallade, it's over. Gonna go for a sucker punch, obviously, just try to get a little bit of chip damage. But it's gonna go down, and in comes the Gallade. Is it Choice Scarfed? It is, in fact, and picks up the KO with the Psycho Cut. Mike was so down in that game, but he found a way to come back. Really impressive. I don't even think Zane made any big mistakes here. I probably would have liked to see some hazard clearing stick around on this team to keep that Magmortar healthy, because man, it was pressuring this team so much. If he had hit that first one, that's also big, because he ended up having to burn 2 more overheats to take out the Walking Wake. He only would have had to burn 1 more. And that next time that he came in, he would have been able to just claim a KO on something else. But overall, really, really cool game. Really excited. But, I mean, how could I not make this last game our
marquee match of the week? Now we have a theme.
It is probably the most seen playoff match in the past 5 years, if not ever, I think. We've got Brett taking on Zach. This one also really intense match for a time, and then it wasn't. So let's get into it. So we've got Pheasantipity. We've seen a lot of Pheasantipity this week against the Excadrill. U-turn out, breaks the balloon right away. Big. That's really big. And the Stealth Rocks are going to go up. Nothing you can really do about that. Flower Trick comes out on the Moltres. Smart for Zach to go into it, but this Brett also smart went Protective Pads on the Meowscarada. So not afraid of getting Flame Body burned. But also get a nice slow U-turn out of it. It's great. Excadrill's going to come back in, threaten this Pheasantipity, but it's just going to... You're just chipping, right? This is the chip stage. Okay, so... I was talking to Brett before the game. He's just like, what do I put on Quaquaval? Do I put Ice Spinner or Aqua Jet? Or knock off for Aqua Jet, because I can't touch the Dragapult if he decides to go to it. This is the best possible use, I think, of Quaquaval that Brett was going to be able to get out of it. Against this team, there wasn't much he was going to be able to do. Ended up going with Aqua Jet and being able to get off 54% on Excadrill there. Awesome. That's very big. Unfortunately, he's going to have to live with these rocks for the rest of the game, because he doesn't have any more clearing. Unless he can force Zach to defog with none of his Pokemon, none of which learn defog, then that's his way out. He's got to just live with these rocks, and this Pheasantipity is made to pivot, and it's doing a lot of it. So Sludge Bomb comes out. Snag a Poison? No. Really bad luck. This thing is Toxic Chain, and it's not getting any poisons on like anything for a good chunk of the game. Spikes are going to go up. Another thing that Brett has to deal with that he can't really deal with. He doesn't even have anything that can set up rocks, like maybe the Metagross does. I don't remember if it has it. Nipsey's going to come out again. We're just seeing a lot of pivoting from Brett. He knows he's in kind of a rough spot, but I mean, Brett, better than anybody, knows what his win conditions are. And now this Excadrill's low enough where we can pick up the KO with Heat Wave. That Excadrill's gone. You turn out. I don't really know why he went into that. I guess he's threatening with a Shadow Ball, but he doesn't know the. Oh, now we get to, so that's the third time that this thing's been hit with a Toxic Chain move and hasn't been poisoned, but Brett makes up for it by having 100% drop rate on Moonblast. It's absolutely crazy, because we see another Moonblast come out, still trying to poison. There finally gets the Toxic Chain off on this thing. But if this thing's got Earth Power, it actually has to switch out. It can't, in another one. Can't, like, afford to really stay in too long. Can't afford to attack this thing, especially because the Toxic's starting to rack up. Clefable's going to come in, get poison. Actually, that's also super big, because it reveals that it's not Magic Guard, it's Unaware. That's enormous because of what Brett's got planned for later. So this is kind of an interesting play here, I think, on Zach's part. I was really surprised to see him get the Wish up, not Protect with Clefable, probably because the Toxic damage was going to rack up, but just use Clefable, who's now at 22% and Toxic, just to get a safe switch into Ambipom. I was really surprised to see that, and it goes ahead and Terra Normal, double hit, misses. Later there's a miss for a miss comment that I don't think is really warranted, because I think that this... I'll talk about it in a second. Dragapult's going to come in, finally pick up the KO on it. And then Brett's going to do what he would have done if the first double hit had hit, still gets Sludge Bomb, still gets poisoned. And then he still has to go for the second one to pick up the KO. He still has 46% more HP, but Brett still does this. He still sets up with Flygon on that turn. He still Terra's Steel, sets up with Flygon on that turn in front of the Ambipom. Now, maybe he's got low kick. I'm not sure. But yeah, so... And also, Zach makes another very rare, honestly, faux pas. Goes for the Earth Power there. Big mistake. So Brett now is in the driver's seat. That Clefable is going to go down to Terra Blast. The Dragapult... I don't remember what it would go... I mean, Dragapult I don't think can KO it from this range. That's the big thing. Like, Flygon's in the driver's seat here, but dodges the Stone Edge. That and that seals it for Brett. He doesn't really have a way to come back at this point. This Metagross, I'm surprised that like he could have been scared of Scarf Metagross or something, but the leftovers show up, so he knows he's got nothing to fear with the Moltres. At this point, it's just clean up for Zach. He's in a very safe position because of that dodge. Which, look, I'm not gonna fault people for dodges. Like, it's Pokemon. This happens all the time. It's just unfortunate to see Brett position himself really well, and then he's gonna end up going down to a miss. You know, it'll happen. Especially to the great ones like Brett and Zach. They're going to lose on hacks, and it's gonna be memorable because you don't get many opportunities to beat them clean. So when they lose to hacks, it feels like, oh man, this happens all the time. It's because that's the only way these guys lose, right? That wraps that up. Let's head back over here to our... What do we need to talk about? Oh, changes. Okay. I changed my Terra Captains. Curtis changed his Terra Captains. Logan selected his Terra Captains. Why is this Carbink's Terra type not showing up? Oh, because it says Ghost 3. It's supposed to say Ghost 3. Okay, there we go. Went with Regice, going Steel, Fairy, Ice. When in doubt, go your Stab, and then Steel, Fairy, or Water, right? Like, or Electric. I've seen Electric a lot just because it only's got the one weakness. Defensively, those are like the best types. You see the same thing with Carbink and then Ghost. Ghost is to block Rapid Spin. Like, these are... And then Morpeko went with both of its stabs, and then Ice. If you're an Electric type, you want Ice, Grass, or Water. So that way you can hit whatever ground type you think is appropriate. It's not rocket surgery. So, and then also, not on this, is it, oh god, guys, I'm not in frame again. You'd think I'd learn, but I don't. We'll do that. And then we'll slide down over here. There we go. Do that. Bring these guys into frame because there's a lot of changes we need to talk about. So, Washington Commanders drop Slitherwing, pick up Cleavor. Gives him another rocker. That's nice. There was some other reason that he said he picked this up. I think it was the Psychic Week thing that I was talking about. I don't know. That'd be weird though, right? No, it couldn't be that. It's got to be something else. Not important though, right? So Zach tore the house down. Made a lot of changes. So let me pull this up. Let me look at it on the side here. He dropped Hippopotas, Moltres, Electivire, other Pokemon. I can't read it because of the way this is set up. I'm sorry, guys. Dropped Excadrill, Hippopotas, Moltres, Electivire, Gastron, Tauros, Aqua to pick up Landorus T, Heatran, Braviary, Raikou, and Samurott. Now, Zach's a very good player. I was surprised. I think I might even mentioned this in the draft video. I was surprised we didn't see Heatran in the initial draft of this team. A very good Pokemon. We've also seen Zach use Raikou before. Raikou had the most prolific season in all of the ABL back in, I want to say, season 16 or something. 15 or 16, somewhere around there. Might have even been flanked by Clefable and Heatran at the time. Dragapult I don't think was out yet, so probably not that. And then he just goes and rounds it out with the all-around, like, longest tenured Pokemon in OU in Landorus. I would not be surprised if most weeks from here on out we see these 5 plus somebody else. That wouldn't shock me at all. I wouldn't even give Zach flack for it. The only downside to that is that means if he does it, which he isn't required to by any means, is he only has one more slot, and that means whatever Pokemon that is his Terra Pokemon. He never has any position then to play which Pokemon's going to Terra, because it's the one that can Terra. So that's something to keep in mind. But he still has Munchlax around. I like that. Samurott, he has all the tools he needs. Just because I'm saying that these 5 Pokemon are really good, by no means that he has to bring them all the time. Just that's kind of what you'd expect when you spend a lot of money on something. You want to get your use out of it, right? Let's check the schedule. Oh, for the South, I forgot to do a thing where I was like, hey, here's the matchups that are coming up. So I won't do that for the North this week either. Maybe if I remember it, I'll do it for both. That's the schedule. We want to check the standings. That's what I was talking about. Yep, still framed up there, nice. This one's working. Peru, I'm at the top with the Peru there. It's not working in the South. But yeah, here we are. I mean, Peru is a very volatile stat. I don't think that's going to carry me. At the end of the day, you need wins and losses, right? I don't know. Not a lot else to say about this one. Exciting first week. Looking forward to more stuff. Looking forward to more great battles. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.